Winter has come, fellow throne watchers. The watch has finally begun. You can watch live on Mnet's DSTV channel 101. There's just something surreal about watching live, knowing that millions and millions of fans across the globe are watching at the same time as you are. It's kind of like a religion, like a cult following, like the World Cup or even the Olympics. Game of Thrones is that big, guys.
Hey, excuse me over there. I don't need a disclaimer. This is my channel. Argue with your pets. If you don't have one, maybe argue with your best friend. If you don't have that either, I can't help you. All opinions are mine, and that's that.
If you're new here, yoo-hoo! And if you're an oldie, welcome back. It's the Delphine Okobah here, and we're going to be talking episode 1 of season 8 of the Game of Thrones. So I was at the DSTV viewing party at Harbour Point in Victoria Island, and I realized that watching episode 1 a second time kind of gave me a better perspective of what was going on. And then just watching other people watch the show, the excitement was so palpable. Good stuff. Okay, let's dive in. Did anyone pay attention to the new montage? You guys all know that with each season there has been like new elements put or placed into the montage as well. Season 8 is not any different. There are some Easter eggs they left in for us. Like obviously there's a emphasis on the God's Wood and all the different areas or regions that this whole story is going to play out in season 8. Also the sword at the end of the montage, we see 3 different emblems. Okay, also the sword of the montage, we see 3 different figures on the sword. On the left, we see a dire wolf looking like it's charging. On the right, we see a figure of a man holding a severed head. And then right in the center, I can't really make out what that is. If you guys can see, if you have sharper eyes than I do, please let me know in the comment section below. First episode opens up with a procession of an army being led by Dany and Jon Snow. They're marching into Winterfell, and it kind of draws parallels with episode 1 of season 1 of Game of Thrones, when Robert Baratheon comes from King's Landing, all the way from King's Landing to Winterfell with his entourage and the army and procession, and they proceed or they make their way into Winterfell. The same thing. The parallels are so evident. It just takes you all the way back to when we all started our Game of Thrones journey in 2000 and God knows what. It's so nostalgic, you know. Other characters marching in with Dany and Jon are Tyrion Lannister, Varys the Spider, Missandei and her boo, Grey Worm, Sir Davos, the Onion King, Jorah Mormont, and a couple of others. So they finally sit in the Great Hall of Winterfell to have a meeting and talk about the way forward. And it is so clear that Sansa, and of course the Northmen as well, do not like Daenerys. The North do not trust very easily. They are very loyal to their own. And I believe they named Jon Snow the King of the North before he left to have whatever deal he struck with Dany. So they're not pleased with this news that Dany is supposed to be your grace, their queen. Then there's this conversation that ensues between Dany and Sansa. And Sansa's talking about how she doesn't have enough food to feed all the armies that Dany came with, the Unsullied, the Dothraki, all of these people. And then she doesn't have enough food to feed dragons as well. And then she now goes, what do dragons even eat? And then Dany looks at her and says, whatever they want. The bossness. That's enough to instill fear in you. Like, so this episode is full of reunions, guys, and the one that really stole my heart was the one between Jon Snow and Arya Stark. It was so heartwarming, like so heartwarming. I was just drawn into the scene, you know, the way their faces showed so much emotion, you know, like you could tell that there's this love between the two of them, this love that only the two of them share. It was beautiful. It was such a special and intimate moment. Anyway, back at warmer regions, we see Cersei sitting on the Iron Throne in an empty hall. I really don't care for what's going on in King's Landing, honestly, because all the action is going on in Winterfell. But we see this scene where she's having a conversation with Euron Greyjoy, who is her only ally at this point, and he's obviously making the moves on her. And she says, if you need a whore, buy one. If you need a queen, earn her. And then proceeds to still sleep with him after dropping that sort of boss line. Hello, auntie. Mawana. Okay, moving on. She says, if you need a whore, buy one. If you need a queen, earn her. And then proceeds to still sleep with him. After dropping that sort of boss, feminist line. Hello, auntie. Mawana. Okay, moving on. Speaking of coital scenes, we see that Danny and Jon take their bed-breaking skills to the north. This scene comes after Danny and Jon take a ride on the dragons. Kind of reminded me of Aladdin, how he took Jasmine on the magic carpet. But well, this is not quite a magic carpet, more like dragons. And I don't know why Danny didn't seem the least bit puzzled that Jon could ride a dragon. Maybe she thought it was because of her presence, like it was because she allowed it to happen that it happened. That should have given her clues. Anyway, we see them ride the dragon. They drop in this really gorgeous place where there's a waterfall, and they're having this conversation and bonding and whatnot, and then they start to make out. This is the funniest thing. Then one of the dragons, either Rhaegar or Drogon, I don't know which one is which, starts sneering at Jon Snow, and he's giving the dragon side eye. Like, it was so funny. Anyway, back at Winterfell, we see Dany and Sir Jorah Mormont going to visit Samuel Tarly. She goes to see him to thank him for saving Sir Jorah from Grayscale. And in the course of their conversation, it unfolds that she murdered his father and his brother. Whoosh! Sam's reaction to that, his face is twitching, his lips are quivering, he's shaking, like he's overcome with so much grief. Even though his father treated him badly, he was still his father, you know. So you feel some type of way. Someone told you that they murdered your father, and you feel powerless because there's nothing you can do because she's supposed to be your queen. So Sam storms out upset and then bumps into Bran, and Bran, who is no longer Bran, by the way, some stone cold person in that wheelchair, anyway, speaks to him and says he needs to tell Jon the truth. So Sam goes to find Jon in the crypts. They exchange pleasantries and whatnot, and he confronts him with really confronts him with the truth. I'm not talking about the king of the north, I'm talking about the king of the 7 bloody kingdoms. You are Aegon Targaryen, first of his name and whatnot, you know. Jon turns and he's like looking at him like, what are you talking about, you know? And then everything unfolds. Jon is told the full story, and his mind, like, he's trying to wrap his mind around it, like, doesn't mean that I've been lied to all my life, you know. And Sam is like, no, focus on the real deal. The real deal is that your father, Ned Stark, protected you because Robert Baratheon would have killed you, you know. So that conversation was like, it needed to happen. Like, it just goes to show that there's going to be conflict between our lovers, Dany and Jon. There's going to be conflict, you know. Could she actually bend the knee to him after shouting bend the knee for so long to the whole world? Would she come to the point where she agrees, you know? So this is something that we're going to have to find out eventually as the episodes swing by. Anyway, the last scene was perfect when Bran finally meets his enemy, Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer. It just took my mind back to the scene where Sam was talking with Bran, and Bran had said that he was waiting for an old friend. So it goes to show that the old friend is Jaime Lannister. Jaime stood there and stared at him for so long. Like, it's obvious, like he looked like he had seen a ghost. Like, his face was whitewashed and whatnot. So that's how the episode ends, and I'm really curious to see what their conversation is going to be about. People are saying that Bran obviously doesn't feel bad because he's no longer Bran. He doesn't have any ties with his old person. Bran is a new person, you know. And there's just so many theories on the internet. Like, if you go on there and search Game of Thrones, like, your mind will be blown away by all the fan theories. Anyway, speaking of theories, there are several others that I have come across. People are saying that Bran is probably the Night King. I don't know how they came about that postulation, but yes, that is what people are saying. Is he going to walk into the Night King? I don't know, but that is one that I can't wrap my head around. Some other people are saying that Littlefinger is not dead yet. Hello, Arya killed him. The only way that Littlefinger can come back into the picture is if Arya takes his face, you know, because she wears faces, what she was taught at Bravos. So that's the only way I can think of Littlefinger coming back. Also, Cersei drinking, could it mean that she's not pregnant, or she's faking the pregnancy, or she really doesn't care and she's taking alcohol anyway? You know, these are some thoughts that are floating around. You know, if there's more, let me know. I'm sure there are a ton of other conspiracy theories that people are talking about. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen in episode 2? Who's going to die? You know, and also obviously the last question, who do you predict will sit on the Iron Throne when everything is over? Do not forget to watch episode 2 of season 8 of the Game of Thrones on Mnet DSTV channel 101. It's going to be showing live 2 a.m. Monday morning, so you do not want to miss that. Once again, it's Delphine here. Do not forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and share this video. Until the next one, doo-doo!